National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation has been a holiday staple since 1989, delighting audiences with its outrageous comedy, heartfelt family chaos, and the unforgettable antics of the Griswolds. From Clark's over-the-top Christmas lights to Cousin Eddie's legendary unpredictability, every moment of this festive classic has earned its place in seasonal movie tradition. Decades later, fans still wonder how the film's iconic cast, led by Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo, and Randy Quaid, have transformed through the years. What surprising paths did their careers take? How have their lives changed since bringing this chaotic Christmas adventure to the screen? Join us as we revisit the beloved Christmas Vacation, stars then and now, and uncover the remarkable journeys behind one of the most timeless holiday comedies ever made. Beverly D'Angelo portrayed Ellen Griswold, Clark's patient, deeply supportive, and frequently frazzled wife, who serves as the indispensable anchor amidst the familial and logistical wreckage Clark inevitably creates, starring in the film National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. D'Angelo was 38 years old when she returned to the role. Ellen was characterized by her grounded, compassionate presence, her ability to mediate between Clark's escalating chaos and her children's teenage cynicism, and her unwavering emotional stability. Her life was centered on being the stable partner to Clark, acting as the primary mediator in domestic conflicts, and remaining a dedicated mother, establishing her as a pragmatic woman who had long since become accustomed to Clark's obsessive holiday schemes and the inevitable destructive fallout. Ellen's patience is repeatedly tested throughout the film by the arrival of eccentric relatives, the emotional stress of the financial ruin Clark faces, and the sheer physical danger posed by his electrical schemes. Yet her fundamental support for her husband never truly wavers. D'Angelo's quiet strength and weary humor provided the necessary balance to Clark's manic energy, making her a key realistic part of the beloved Griswold family dynamic. Beverly D'Angelo, currently 73, has maintained a long and versatile career across film and television, with notable roles in Hair and American History X. Her performance as Ellen provided the audience's point of view, a woman who loves her husband but is acutely aware of the cost of his over-the-top ambition. Johnny Galecki portrayed Rusty Griswold Clark in Ellen's observational, often cynical teenage son, starring in the film National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. Galecki was 14 years old when he took on the role, marking the fourth time the character of Rusty had been recast in the film series. Rusty was characterized by his quiet, almost weary acceptance of his family's tendency toward chaotic disaster, offering sharp, often understated observational humor that perfectly complemented his father's manic energy. His life, having grown up under the relentless pursuit of the perfect family holiday orchestrated by Clark, was defined by a learned cynicism and a detached, almost professional ability to observe and comment on the absurdity around him, establishing him as the quiet voice of reason among the younger generation. Rusty's role in the film was primarily to react to the escalating disasters, the malfunctioning lights, the kidnapped boss, and the trailer park invasion, showcasing Galecki's early talent for underplaying comedy, a skill he would master later in his career. Johnny Galecki, currently 50, utilized this early exposure to launch an extraordinarily successful television career, achieving widespread fame first as David Healy in Roseanne, and later and more notably as Dr. Leonard Hofstadter in the global hit sitcom The Big Bang Theory. His portrayal of Rusty provides a valuable early performance in the career of one of television's most enduring stars. Chevy Chase played Clark Griswold, the perpetually optimistic, well-meaning, yet utterly hapless family man who is relentlessly determined to orchestrate the most fun-filled, old-fashioned family Christmas ever. Starring in the chaotic holiday classic National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. Chase was 46 years old when he embodied the iconic role for the third time in the National Lampoon series. Clark was instantly characterized by his obsessive commitment to tradition, his over-the-top antics, and his uncanny ability to transform simple holiday rituals into escalating disasters, from slathering his driveway with petroleum jelly to nearly setting the house on fire with 25,000 lights. His life was defined by his middle-class executive career and a deep driving commitment to his family, and the romantic ideal of an American holiday, fueled by a powerful, often frustrating nostalgia that blinded him to reality and spurred his obsessive doom planning. Clark's entire arc in the film is driven by his escalating desperation to achieve a perfect cinematic Christmas, a quest that is consistently thwarted by unforeseen events, rude neighbors, faulty electronics, and the surprise arrival of his trailer-dwelling cousin Eddie. Chase's performance masterfully balanced Clark's underlying tenderness and sincere intentions with his explosive temper and physical comedy, making him one of the most beloved and relatable comedy dads in film history. Chevy Chase, currently 82, had already achieved stardom through Saturday Night Live and the previous Vacation films. His portrayal captured the universal stress and unattainable perfection associated with the commercialized holiday season. Diane Ladd portrayed Nora Griswold, the supportive mother of Clark Griswold and the matriarch of the senior Griswold generation, starring in the film National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. Ladd was 53 years old when she took on the role of the patient, observant grandmother. Nora was characterized by her gentle maternal affection, her quiet strength, and her ability to balance her husband's quirks in the chaos of her son's household with an enduring sense of grace. Her life was defined by the traditional roles of motherhood and homemaking, establishing her as a pragmatic woman who was accustomed to dealing with the minor and major domestic crises inherent in raising an eccentric son, like Clark, prioritizing familial harmony over perfection. Nora's role primarily contributed to the complex holiday chaos by simply being another body to feed house and witness the domestic failures, yet she did so with a foundational kindness that underscored the family's enduring love, despite the stress. Diane Ladd, currently 89, is an esteemed three-time Academy Award-nominated actress known for her powerful roles in films like Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore and Wild at Heart. Her involvement provided significant acting pedigree to the ensemble cast. Her portrayal added a layer of necessary emotional realism and maternal warmth, ensuring that the film's humor was always grounded in the genuine affection that bound the sprawling Griswold clan together. Juliette Lewis played Audrey Griswold Clark and Ellen's exasperated, long-suffering teenage daughter, starring in the chaotic holiday film National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. Lewis was 16 years old when she took on the role of the daughter, which, consistent with the Vacation tradition, was played by a different actress in each installment. Audrey was characterized by her intense exasperation, her dramatic mood swings, and her understandable frustration with her family's escalating holiday disasters and her father's obsessive pursuit of perfection. Her life, typical of a teenager in the late 1980s, was focused on her social standing, her friendships, and the desperate yearning for normalcy and acceptance, establishing her as the primary conduit for the audience's cynicism regarding Clark's over-the-top antics, particularly when her room is invaded by unexpected relatives. Audrey's storyline focused heavily on the comedic disruption of her social life due to the family's chaotic decisions, such as having to sleep in the same room as her younger brother, and later dealing with the invasion of the boorish cousin Eddie and his family, adding a crucial layer of humor and relatability for viewers who understood the pain of parental embarrassment. Juliette Lewis, currently 52, quickly achieved major success after the film gaining critical acclaim and an Academy Award nomination for her role in Cape Fear, establishing a career known for intense, unconventional roles. Her early portrayal of Audrey perfectly captured the agony of being a teenager whose life is constantly upended by well-meaning but destructive parents. Doris Roberts portrayed Frances Smith, the mother of Ellen Griswold and Clark's mother-in-law, starring in the film National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. Roberts was 64 years old when she played the supportive yet subtly exasperated grandmother. Frances Smith was characterized by her observant nature, her quiet participation in the family gossip, and her efforts to manage her husband Art's cantankerous personality. Her life was defined by the traditional roles of homemaker and mother, establishing her as a pragmatic woman accustomed to navigating domestic and familial tensions, with a mixture of wit and weary observation, often providing a subtle, humorous critique of the chaotic environment. Her character contributed crucial humor and added to the sense of claustrophobia within the Griswold house as she and her husband tried to find a quiet space away from the manic energy of Clark and the sudden arrival of cousin Eddie's disastrous family. Doris Roberts had a long and extremely successful career, particularly in television comedy, later achieving massive fame for her iconic Emmy-winning role as Marie Barone in the hit sitcom Everybody Loves Raymond. Sadly, Doris Roberts passed away on April 17, 2016 at the age of 90 due to complications from a stroke. Her performance was an early highlight in her later career renaissance, showcasing her perfect comedic timing and her ability to embody the universally recognizable, slightly judgmental, yet loving grandmother. John Randolph played Clark Griswold Sr., the patriarch of the Griswold extended family, and Clark Griswold's father, starring in the chaotic holiday classic National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. Randolph was 74 years old when he took on the role of the grandfather. Clark Sr. was characterized by his quiet, observational demeanor, his traditional values, and his ability to navigate his son's manic holiday obsession with a weary sense of generational amusement. His life was rooted in the stability of retirement after a career spanning decades, establishing him as the traditional patriarchal figure who, along with his wife, brought an older, more grounded perspective to the chaotic modern middle-class holiday being forced upon them by Clark Jr.'s unrealistic ambitions. His role primarily added warmth, nostalgic context, and gentle generational humor to the overwhelming Griswold family dynamic, often serving as a calm, if slightly befuddled observer amidst the escalating domestic disasters. Randolph's performance lent an air of authenticity to the familial environment, providing a necessary counterpoint to the more exaggerated comedic performances. John Randolph had a long and highly respected career, spanning theater, film, and television, notably starring in Serpico in Prizzi's honor. Sadly, John Randolph passed away on February 24, 2004, at the age of 88, due to complications from heart failure. His portrayal helped anchor the film in a sense of genuine familial history. Miriam Flynn portrayed cousin Katherine Johnson, Eddie's long-suffering yet loyal and warm-hearted wife, who arrives alongside her eccentric husband and equally eccentric children, starring in the film National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. Flynn was 37 years old when she returned to the role. Katherine was characterized by her quiet strength, her weary acceptance of Eddie's wildness, and her enduring maternal warmth and practicality. Her life was centered on being a devoted wife and mother within the chaotic, financially unstable confines of their RV existence, establishing her as a pragmatic homemaker who faced immense domestic and financial challenges, with a quiet, resigned strength prioritizing her family's unity above all else. Katherine's primary function in the narrative was to balance Eddie's abrasive personality, adding necessary heart and humanity to the extended family dynamic, ensuring that while the Johnsons were sources of chaos, they were fundamentally motivated by family love. Her patient endurance of Clark's house and the endless stream of escalating disasters provided a subtle, relatable comedic element. Miriam Flynn, currently 73, has had a long and steady career in acting, particularly known for her extensive voiceover work in animation and her recurring roles in television and film. Her consistent portrayal of Katherine across the Vacation series provided the essential emotional ballast required to make the outrageous humor of the Johnson family believable. E.G. Marshall played Art Smith, the father of Ellen Griswold and Clark's grumpy, highly critical father-in-law, starring in the chaotic holiday film National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. Marshall was 74 years old when he took on the role of the cantankerous grandfather. Art Smith was characterized by his perpetually grumpy demeanor, his lack of patience for Clark's exaggerated holiday antics, and his overall quiet disapproval of the escalating chaos within the Griswold household. His life before the enforced holiday visit was likely defined by a successful reserve professional career, which instilled in him a demand for order and quiet dignity, establishing him as a man who viewed Clark's slapstick enthusiasm and destructive schemes with understandable disdain and frequent irritation. His role provided significant comic tension, particularly due to the sheer logistical stress of being crammed into Clark's house alongside the myriad of other visiting relatives, making his grumbling a relatable form of protest against the overwhelming holiday expectations. E.G. Marshall had a long and distinguished career spanning stage, film, and television, notably known for his roles in the film 12 Angry Men and the series The Defenders. Sadly, E.G. Marshall passed away on August 24, 1998, at the age of 84 due to complications from lung cancer. His dry, understated performance was a perfect foil for Clarke's manic energy, illustrating the subtle, often painful friction that arises when extended families are forced together during the holidays. Ellen Latson portrayed Ruby Sue Johnson, the young daughter of cousin Eddie and Catherine, starring in the film National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. Latson was 9 years old when she played the supporting role. Ruby Sue was instantly characterized by her wide-eyed innocence, her candid, often brutally honest remarks about her family's poverty, and her own belief in Santa Claus, which brought genuine charm and necessary comic relief to the film's high-stress, family-centered chaos. Her life before the visit was spent navigating the financial struggles and the rootless, unstable existence of living in the RV, establishing her as a child unburdened by the social formalities of suburbia, possessing a direct communication style, and a profound yet often hilarious understanding of her family's misfortunes. Ruby Sue's pivotal scene involves her honest conversation with Clarke about the financial realities facing her family, which provides the emotional turning point that fully motivates Clarke's explosive confrontation with his boss regarding the missing Christmas bonus. Ellen Latson, currently 45, retired from acting after the film. Her performance successfully balanced the film's outrageous comedy with a touch of genuine, poignant childhood innocence, reinforcing the underlying theme that despite all the chaos, the Johnson family's love for each other was real. Randy Quaid played cousin Eddie Johnson, Clarke's eccentric, boorish, and utterly unforgettable cousin who arrives unannounced in his dilapidated RV, starring in the chaotic holiday classic National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. Quaid was 39 years old when he delivered his iconic performance reprising the role from earlier vacation films. Eddie was characterized by his complete lack of social grace, his often disgusting personal habits, such as emptying his RV's septic tank into the city sewer, and his oblivious pride in his dysfunctional family and rootless lifestyle. His life was defined by a perpetually rootless, low-income, blue-collar existence marked by chronic financial struggles and a profound absence of social etiquette, establishing him as the perfect disruptive foil to Clarke's frantic, middle-class pursuit of holiday perfection and suburban conformity. Eddie's outrageous and unexpected antics, including the infamous sewer scene, the introduction of his enormous vicious dog, and the kidnapping of Clarke's boss, were the central hilarious force of chaos that derailed Clarke's carefully planned Christmas. Randy Quaid's portrayal made Eddie one of the most iconic and quoted characters in the entire Vacation series, perfectly embodying the uninvited, embarrassing relative who pushes a family to its breaking point. Randy Quaid, currently 75, had a highly distinguished early career, including an Academy Award nomination for The Last Detail. His performance in Christmas Vacation cemented his comedic legacy in the realm of grotesque character acting. Mae Questel portrayed Aunt Bethany, the sweet, elderly, and profoundly eccentric relative, whose confusion provided several of the film's most beloved comic highlights, starring in the chaotic holiday film National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. Questel was 81 years old when she took on the iconic supporting role. Aunt Bethany was characterized by her gentle, slightly senile demeanor, her confusion regarding current events and family members, and her memorable gaffes, most famously when she wrapped her own cat as a gift and later recited the Pledge of Allegiance instead of delivering grace before the chaotic family dinner. Her life prior to her final years was defined by her immense contribution to early American animation, establishing her as a cultural figure whose work entertained millions. Though her character in the film was portrayed as a sweet woman whose grasp on modern reality was gently slipping away, her performance contributed a necessary element of wide-eyed, harmless eccentricity to the overwhelming family reunion. Mae Questel was a celebrated, iconic voice actress, renowned globally as the original voice of cartoon characters, Betty Boop and Olive Oyl, cementing her status as a legend of early animation. Sadly, Mae Questel passed away on January 4th, 1998 at the age of 89 due to complications from Alzheimer's disease. Her performance provided a perfect, innocent contrast to the cynical humor of the Griswold clan, ensuring that the film's climax was both utterly disastrous and genuinely heartwarming. Cody Berger played Rocky Johnson, the young son of cousin Eddie and Katherine Johnson, starring in the chaotic holiday film National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. Berger was 6 years old when he took on the supporting role. Rocky was characterized by his silent, wide-eyed observation of the Griswold household's chaotic environment, often appearing perpetually bundled up and slightly withdrawn, perfectly embodying the fish-out-of-water feeling the entire Johnson clan brought to the affluent suburbs. His life before the impromptu Christmas visit was defined by the confined, rootless existence of living in the family's dilapidated RV, establishing him as a quiet, observational child who was accustomed to his parents' extreme eccentricity and domestic instability, making the structure of the Griswold house a confusing spectacle. Rocky's role in the film was small but memorable. His quiet demeanor and inability to stop drinking out of the toilet added subtle physical comic relief that reinforced the utter lack of social grace and hygiene that the Johnson family brought into Clark's manicured world. Cody Berger, currently 42, pursued a brief acting career following the film, but has since largely stepped away from the industry. His portrayal contributed significantly to the quirky, unforgettable presence of the Johnson family, adding another layer of lovable oddity to the extended Griswold family dynamic. Nicholas Guest portrayed Todd Chester, one of the Griswolds' impeccably neat, perpetually serene, and utterly snooty next-door neighbors, starring in the film National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. Guest was 39 years old when he took on the role of the antagonist who serves as a crucial comedic foil. Todd Chester, along with his wife Margot, was characterized by his intense focus on order, quiet aesthetic perfection, and a general air of superiority which made him instantly despise Clark's escalating, vulgar holiday antics. His life was rooted in the affluent, strictly ordered existence of upscale suburbia, where conformity and aesthetic pleasure were paramount, establishing him as the antithesis of the chaotic, deeply sincere working-class energy of the Griswolds and prioritizing peace and quiet above all else. Todd's escalating exasperation with Clark's increasingly disastrous holiday schemes, the blinding Christmas lights, the loud motorhome, the severed power lines, and the overall noise provided a hilarious and essential contrast to the Griswolds' chaotic, over-the-top cheer. Nicholas Guest, currently 75, has had a consistent career in film and television, often playing roles that require sophistication or an air of authority, and is also known for extensive voiceover work. His performance perfectly captured the high-strung, passive-aggressive nature of the suburban neighbor whose personal peace is violently disrupted by the pure, unadulterated chaos of the Griswold family. William Hickey played Uncle Lewis, the cantankerous, sharply witty, and perpetually grumpy elderly relative, who is responsible for one of the film's greatest domestic catastrophes, starring in the chaotic holiday classic National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. Hickey was 62 years old when he took on the role of the memorable chain-smoking patriarch. Uncle Lewis was instantly characterized by his sour disposition, his tendency to grumble and complain about the modern world, and his overall general distaste for the forced holiday cheer, making him a hilarious standout in the already crowded Griswold family chaos. His life was rooted in the older generation's traditional rigid perspectives, establishing him as a man who viewed the holiday not with Clark's manic enthusiasm, but with cynical observation, though his inherent character provided a necessary dry humor that broke through the film's relentless slapstick. His most unforgettable act occurs when he carelessly attempts to light a cigar after dinner, causing a massive catastrophic explosion of the ridiculously dry, unwatered Christmas tree, a scene that perfectly summarizes the disastrous nature of the Griswold Christmas. William Hickey had a long and distinguished career in theater and film, achieving an Academy Award nomination for Prezi's honor, and his performance brought a touch of theatrical eccentricity to the comedy ensemble. Sadly, William Hickey passed away on June 29, 1997, at the age of 69, due to complications arising from chronic emphysema. His legacy in the film remains strong, representing the curmudgeonly spirit that is often forced to endure family gatherings. Nicolette Scorsese portrayed Mary, the glamorous lingerie saleswoman, about whom Clark Griswold famously fantasizes during his frantic shopping trip to the department store, starring in the film National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. Scorsese was 35 years old when she played the brief yet highly memorable role. Mary was characterized by her striking allure, her confident demeanor, and her unwitting role as the object of Clark's suppressed holiday-fueled desire. Her life was likely rooted in the image-conscious worlds of modeling or acting, establishing her as a figure of unattainable feminine glamour, who embodied Clark's private comedic yearnings and the fantasy escape from his frustrating domestic reality, particularly the stress of dealing with his extended family. Mary's brief but highly effective scene became one of the film's most iconic comedic moments, perfectly encapsulating Clark's ability to retreat into elaborate fantasy when faced with the crushing disappointments of his real life. Nicolette Scorsese, currently 71, had a steady career in supporting roles throughout the 1990s. Her performance in Christmas Vacation served as a necessary narrative beat, providing a quick, visually engaging moment of fantasy that contrasted sharply with the harsh realities of Clark's home life. Sam McMurray played Bill, a co-worker of Clark Griswold at the food processing company, appearing briefly in the workplace subplot that fueled Clark's Christmas desperation, starring in the chaotic holiday film National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. McMurray was 37 years old when he took on the supporting role. Bill was characterized by his professional demeanor and his position as a middle manager within the company structure, often conveying the bureaucratic reality that Clark was frequently frustrated by. His life was defined by the typical professional demands and office politics of a middle-class white-collar career, establishing him as a figure who represented the professional constraints and the frustrating reality of corporate life that Clark yearned to momentarily escape through the perfection of his home holiday. Bill's role primarily added crucial context to the workplace subplot, highlighting Clark's growing frustration over the expectation of receiving a substantial Christmas bonus, an expectation that becomes the financial underpinning for Clark's entire doomed holiday fantasy. McMurray's performance was effective in illustrating the mundane, often joyless reality of the corporate world, serving as a stark contrast to the manic energy Clark displayed at home. Sam McMurray, currently 73, has had a long and highly recognizable career as a character actor, appearing in numerous films and television series, often playing officious, bureaucratic, or supporting comedic roles. His involvement underscored the idea that Clark's desire for the perfect Christmas was fueled not just by nostalgia, but by professional stress and the need for validation. Brian Doyle Murray portrayed Frank Shirley Clark Griswold's stingy, ethically challenged corporate boss, who was the ultimate source of Clark's financial disappointment and subsequent rage, starring in the film National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. Doyle Murray was 44 years old when he took on the role of the necessary antagonist. Frank Shirley was characterized by his corporate coldness, his palpable lack of holiday spirit, and his morally questionable decision to forgo Christmas bonuses in favor of his own cost-cutting measures. His life was rooted in the ruthless pursuit of corporate executive life, establishing him as a figure singularly focused on profit margins and cost-cutting, rendering him completely oblivious or indifferent to the immense impact his decisions had on employee morale and financial planning, particularly for employees like Clark. Frank Shirley's refusal to give bonuses after Clark had already planned his entire holiday around the money set up the film's central conflict and eventual resolution, justifying Clark's temporary descent into rage and making Shirley the one person whose physical kidnapping by Cousin Eddie felt justly deserved. Brian Doyle Murray, currently 79, has had a long and acclaimed career as a comedic actor, writer, and character performer, often collaborating with his younger brother Bill Murray, and is known for his roles in Caddyshack and Groundhog Day. His performance as the tight-fisted boss provided the perfect capitalist villain for the film's critique of the commercialized Christmas ideal. Julia Louis-Dreyfus played Margot Chester, one of the two impeccably neat, perpetually serene, and utterly snooty next-door neighbors, who serve as Clark Griswold's greatest suburban nemesis, starring in the chaotic holiday film National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. Louis-Dreyfus was 28 years old when she took on the crucial role, providing an early glimpse of her impeccable comedic timing just before her rise to global stardom. Margot Chester, along with her husband Todd, was characterized by her intense focus on maintaining suburban order, her disdain for vulgarity, and her sheer escalating exasperation with the uncontrollable holiday chaos that Clark generated from the blinding lights to the sewer fumes. Her life was firmly rooted in the affluent, strictly ordered existence of upscale suburbia, where silence, aesthetic perfection, and rigid social boundaries were paramount, establishing her as the high-strung, passive-aggressive antithesis of the chaotic, deeply sincere middle-class energy of the Griswolds. Margot's role was essential as a comedic foil. Her outrage and highly dramatic reactions to the constant disruption of her domestic peace provided a sharp, hilarious contrast that magnified the absurdity of Clark's over-the-top schemes. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, currently 64, quickly achieved massive, enduring fame after the film for her iconic Emmy-winning role as Elaine Benes in the revolutionary sitcom Seinfeld, and later for her critically acclaimed role as Selina Meyer in Veep. Her performance as Margot Chester perfectly captured the agony of the high-maintenance suburbanite whose personal space is violated by the purest form of familial disaster. Alexander Folk portrayed the SWAT officer, a member of the tactical police team that dramatically storms the Griswold house following the kidnapping of Frank Shirley by Cousin Eddie, starring in the film National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. Folk was 43 years old when he took on the supporting role. The SWAT officer was characterized by his uniform professionalism, which was instantly undercut by the absurdity of the situation, a heavily armed tactical unit descending upon a suburban home over a missing Christmas bonus. His life was rooted in the demands of his acting career, often playing roles that required a military or police background, establishing him as a performer who could lend authority and dramatic presence to a scene, thereby amplifying the comedic contrast between the police seriousness and the domestic farce. His role contributed significantly to the film's over-the-top farcical climax, which brilliantly blended high-stakes police action with slapstick holiday humor. Alexander Folk, currently 79, has maintained a consistent career as a supporting actor in film and television, often playing authoritative or background figures in various procedural dramas. His presence and the presence of the entire police force provided the perfect, exaggerated culmination of Clark Griswold's disastrous holiday planning, ultimately leading to the film's heartwarming resolution, where Frank Shirley is forced to reverse his decision on the bonuses, securing the perfect ending Clark had desperately sought. Natalia Nogulich played Mrs. Shirley, the well-heeled wife of Clark Griswold's stingy boss, Frank Shirley, who finds herself inadvertently swept up into the Griswold family's final chaotic holiday disaster, starring in the unforgettable film National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. Nogulich was 39 years old when she took on the minor but memorable role. Mrs. Shirley was characterized by her appearance of quiet upper-class dignity, which made her initial reactions to the trailer-dwelling Cousin Eddie and the subsequent kidnapping of her husband all the more humorously jarring. Her life was firmly rooted in the comfortable, affluent suburbs, establishing her as a woman accustomed to high social standards, luxury, and meticulous order, which made her completely oblivious to her husband's ethically dubious corporate decisions and entirely unprepared for the sheer, unadulterated chaos of the Griswold household. Her character added a crucial element of humor and humanity to Frank Shirley's storyline, particularly during the climactic scene where she witnesses the full spectacle of the Griswold family's dysfunctional love, including the arrival of the police and the eventual restoration of order. Natalia Nogulich, currently 75, has had a long and varied career, notably appearing in the Star Trek franchise and various television dramas. Her portrayal provided the perfect counterpoint to the film's corporate villain, ensuring that even the antagonists were given a touch of relatable suburban confusion during the holiday mayhem. Keith McKechnie played the hapless delivery boy, the final unwitting catalyst, whose brief action inadvertently triggered Clark Griswold's epic meltdown, starring in the chaotic holiday film National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, 1989. McKechnie was 34 years old when he took on the minor but critically pivotal role. The delivery boy was characterized by his mundane professional demeanor, simply delivering a small flat envelope, the anticipated Christmas bonus, to the Griswold household. His life was defined by the routine demands of his service industry job, establishing him as a typical background figure entirely unaware of the immense emotional and financial weight the contents of the package held for Clark, whose entire holiday fantasy was predicated on receiving a large year-end check. His role was instrumental in setting up the film's climax. The moment Clark opens the envelope only to find a free year's membership to the Jelly of the Month Club instead of the cash bonus he desperately needed, directly causes Clark to snap and demand that Cousin Eddie kidnap his boss, Frank Shirley. McKechnie's portrayal, though silent in its impact, perfectly juxtaposed the mundane reality of the service worker with the massive emotional stakes of Clark's financial desperation. Keith McKechnie, currently 70, has had a consistent career in supporting roles across film and television. His brief appearance cemented one of the most quotable and recognizable moments of comedic betrayal in the entire film. Who's your favorite character from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation? It's always tough to say goodbye to beloved cast members who are no longer with us. How does that make you feel? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you're enjoying our content, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated. We appreciate having you in our community.